Washington is furious about German Chancellor Friedrich Merz's shocking 180-degree betrayal, which has left the political world spinning. In an attempt to gain Donald Trump's favor by symbolic gestures, Merz was recently observed urgently playing the sycophant. He even went so far as to present Trump's ancestors' birth certificates in order to establish a solid foundation. In order to portray Merz as the sole individual capable of bargaining with the new U.S. administration, it was a planned display of submission. However, the mask has fallen off, and the consequences are catastrophic. Merz was caught on camera making fun of the Trump administration in front of the international media, an action that can only be characterized as diplomatic suicide. Merz started acting like a cheap impersonator in an embarrassing display of conceit, imitating Trump's trademark hand movements and tone of skepticism. He believed he was demonstrating his strength. Rather, he revealed a terrible lack of character. The Trump inner circle's response was quick and deadly. The mastermind of the America First resurgence, JD Vance, did not hold back. He described Merz's actions as nothing more than self-destruction. This is more than a joke to the MGA movement. It's an expression of animosity. Leaders that make their commander-in-chief a laughingstock while pleading for military protection are not tolerated by the United States. Merz asserts that Germany doesn't want U.S. guidance as he attempts to return to his role as a European moral evangelist. The bridge has been annihilated, not merely burned. Fake grins are a thing of the past. Washington is done with the charade now that they have seen the real Merz. JD Vance turned to face the line of German authorities, both male and female, who had spent decades lecturing the world about moral superiority and unfair vendors. He also declined to shake hands. He provided a harsh clinical autopsy of a collapsing economy. As he said the words that would reverberate through every news ticker from New York to Tokyo, the room fell silent. Right now, Germany has the world's most foolish energy policy. It was a verdict rather than merely an insult. With the accuracy of a prosecutor, Vance went on to demolish the ideological framework of the German government. He emphasized the utter ridiculousness of a country that closes its own cutting-edge, carbon-free nuclear power reactors, which are the safest and most effective in the world, only to replace that lost base load with the priciest options available. The vast hypocrisy of morality. As he revealed Berlin's green vanity's filthy secret, Vance's voice became more acerbic. He pointed out the Indian-Qatari loophole and the obvious hypocrisy of the German leadership. He attacked the administration for maintaining a facade of moral purity while covertly buying Russian liquefied gas through middlemen in Qatar and India, paying 3 times the market price. The irony of fracking. While pleading with the U.S. to transport the same gas across the Atlantic to save German firms from freezing, he ridiculed the German moral leaders who denigrated American fracking technology. The worldwide reality check. Vance pointed to the rest of the globe as Germany deindustrializes in a fit of ideological panic. More than 50 nuclear reactors are being built in China. Russia is growing. India is booming. In terms of nuclear sovereignty, even France is stepping up. Self-flagellation in the economy. Vance bellowed, his voice resonating off the high rafters. This isn't climate protection. This is suicide on a national level. Economic self-flagellation is what this is. He accused the traditional parties, the CDU, SPD, and Green Coalition, of sacrificing the German middle class, which is the foundation of the country's economy, on the altar of a green utopian illusion. For the German taxpayer, Vance's data was a nightmare. Vance exposed the collapse as a third worldization of a once great industrial force, while Robert Habeck and Olaf Scholz attempted to portray it as a metamorphosis. He pointed out that the high energy costs are a death sentence for the German automobile, chemical, and steel industries. The ultimatum of American taxpayers. Gas and coal weren't the most terrifying aspects of Vance's statement. The cost of protection was at issue. He made a direct connection between the military alliance and energy security.
Why?
With icy, calculating eyes, Vance asked, should the defense of a nation that is deliberately destroying its own electrical grid be funded by American taxpayers? Why should we defend an industrial base that makes the decision to commit Hariri? The German delegates sat in shocked, astonished silence. A few examined their shoes. A few U.S. senators were nodding at the back of the room while others fidgeted with their pens. A few even started cheering. The message was clear. The days of Germany preaching the world while the United States foot the bill are officially over. The CDU leadership shuddered when Vance issued a warning at the end of this piece. Strategic patience with leaders who prioritize ideology over reality is no longer of interest to Washington. The payment has finally been paid after the green miracle was revealed to be a black hole. JD Vance carefully took a hefty document out of his briefcase and held it up for the world to see. It was the U.S. State Department Human Rights Report for 2025. Germany was not being praised as a shining example of democracy for the first time since the end of World War II. Rather, it was portrayed as a country on the verge of totalitarianism. Tyranny is condemned. As he read the biting lines, Vance's voice pierced the atmosphere. Substantial reduction in the right to free speech, persistent official interference with the right to assemble, and the prosecution of lawful political dissent. He growled as he turned to face Friedrich Merz. We refer to that as tyranny in America. Because a person shared a meme about a minister, you invade their home at 6 in the morning. You intimidate people who are speaking the truth about the migratory catastrophe by using the DSA and NetzDG. While you are transforming your own nation into a mental prison, you have no right to lecture America about morality. Trade freedom is the ultimatum. Vance's direct connection between political liberty and economic survival was the most deadly blow. On the negotiation table, he made an irresistible offer. The United States is willing to reduce its tariffs on German aluminum and steel. To save Germany's collapsing manufacturing industry, the U.S. will lower trade barriers. The only requirement is that Berlin immediately repeal its censorship regulations, repeal the Digital Services Act, DSA, and cease persecuting dissident voices. Vance said, "The American taxpayer will not spend a single penny defending a country that imprisons citizens for tweeting." The former party's power structure was the target of this decapitation assault. The brand name Firewall, which Merz utilizes to isolate the AfD, was being publicly demanded to be destroyed by Alt Party in Washington. The Patriots' assent. There is no denying Washington's signal. Sycophants and moral apostles like Merz are no longer needed. Trump's advisors, such as Alex Brusovitz, spent hours in private meetings with Alice Weidel and AfD leadership while openly ignoring the German chancellor. Washington is betting on people they refer to as patriots. The SPD and CDU are experiencing a wave of panic. Lars Klink's cries about meddling simply serve to emphasize how brittle a collapsing system is. The planet is going through a significant change. A tide of freedom and realism is replacing the dogmatic Germany of the past. JD Vance did not turn around as he left the podium. He was aware that he had just sparked a revolution. 2026 will be more than just a year on the calendar. With support from their big brother over the Atlantic, the German people will retake their voice this year.